By the way, before Eric hops on here, some news from Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald. The Heat's Bam Adebayo has been selected as one of 5 finalists for the 2024-25 NBA Social Justice Champion Award. The recipient of the annual award receives the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Trophy, which recognizes current and NBA player for pursuing social justice and advancing Abdul-Jabbar's life mission to engage, empower, and drive equality for individuals and groups have been historically disadvantaged. So congrats to Bam.
That man was the OG. I remember when one of the things that I would talk about um with with Jim Brown was about what it was like, you know, early on in his career. And, he was a part of that group of men that stood in front and had the press conference with social about the social issues, and he would always say nothing but positive things about you know what was going on and the stand that all these guys took. And you pretty much know them by name now, when you think of Muhammad Ali and Jim Brown, and you think of Kareem, and you think of what they did in a time where what they were doing wasn't popular. you know Now, you know people look forward to athletes kind of making these statements on social issues. Before, they just wanted them to shut up and play basketball or whatever they did. So yeah, it would be a cool thing to be associated with something like that, especially for people who are old enough to understand that collection of athletes that were at the forefront of all this.
Yeah, and then I think one of the things that's cool about Bam, he's done such a great job since coming to Miami. I think Udonis has had a big influence, and Zoe's had a big influence on this with him. Is he's out in the community doing a lot of that stuff. Does a lot of
Think
stuff
about this.
for single mothers. Obviously, is a thing that's close to his heart. So just a good dude. Like, so
Right.
I'm happy for Bam to get nominated for something like this.
Think about this. We gave side eye, but he was already mentioned in these words when we interviewed Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about Bam at a very early age, saying Bam was going to be the next face of this organization.
Yeah, he said
And
that
we were like,
after his rookie year.
right, right. So this, I think, for people around the Heat organization is not a surprise. Maybe to hear those words from Zoe at such an early age, speaking about Bam, that maybe caught us off guard a little bit.
Well, one man who I'm sure is also not surprised is the great Eric Reid joining us here on the program. We got game 2 tonight. Cleveland and Miami. Miami looking to even up this thing at 1-1. Eric joining us here on the show. Thanks for the time, Eric. Really appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, my pleasure. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was waiting for you guys to call me. I forgot I had to jump on this link here.
You're never late. You're never late. Don't worry about it.
Hey, guys, great to be with you. Listen, tonight I just want to start with this. The game is being televised by NBA TV, and that's blacked out in our market. So if you don't have FanDuel Sports Network, find a way to get it so you can watch Game 2. It's the only place to see it in South Florida tonight.
There you go. We gotta get on this. This is obviously a big one, Eric, and Tyler was talking about this yesterday. That Spo's typically very good in Game 2s that he needs to make adjustments to. So I guess from the vibes of practice yesterday, what was the theme that everybody was feeling going into this one that they obviously is going to be critical if they want to get back in the series?
They got to play a lot better in Game 2. Listen, this is a high-quality opponent. They had the second best record in the league for a reason. You saw those reasons the other night. That was an average game for them. They led the league at 122 points per game. They got 121. Here's what bothered me about Game 1. That they made 18 threes. The Heat's record this year when they give up that many threes is awful. They only turned it over 8 times. So it's got to start with much better defense. You can't give up 85 points to those 3 guys again. Ty Jerome was the X factor of game one. Whoever thought that you'd get that out of him in his first ever playoff game, a 16-point fourth quarter. But I think what bothered Spo and the team most is the effort, the energy level. They got beat on the 50-50 balls. They got beat on the hustle plays. They seem to be sort of a half step slow, all night long. And they've got to win those battles. And they got to keep Jared Allen, especially, and Evan Mobley off the offensive glass. That would improve their defense immensely. So, and here's the other thing. Tyler Herro, listen, the guy has been great this year. He was incredible in the play-in. You've got to carry that over into this series. He's only had one career game in the playoffs of 30-plus points. That was his 37 in the bubble in the conference finals against the Celtics. It's a lot to ask. I understand that because Cleveland's a very good defensive team. I personally feel that Herro's got to get 30 or more for the Heat to have a chance to win any of these games. He had 17 in the first half. He and Wiggins both were held to 4 second-half points. So they're your top two scorers. You can't get 8 points in a half on 3 for 10 shooting from those two guys. Herro did not even attempt a three in the second half. Now, they've got to find better ways to get Herro activated offensively and find a way to help him on the defensive end. Cleveland clearly targeted him, involved him in, I think, 36 pick and rolls. So there's a lot to work on, and you got to expect that. You're going against the second-best team in basketball right now.
Eric, with the size that they have, and like you said, they crash in the offensive boards and getting a lot of offensive rebounds. I mean, is it time for Kalel to, you're very athletic. You're a very athletic big. You got to compete with these guys. You can't let them push you around because it seemed like there was a lot of times where he was there and they just kind of punked him almost and just got him out of the way and had their way with him.
He was kind of lost, Leroy, in that game. Somewhat typical of a rookie in his first playoff game. He only played once against the Cavaliers in the regular season. It's a different level of intensity and energy, and he needs to play a much better game. He did 2 early blocks. I think he only played 7 second-half minutes. He was under 20 minutes for the game. Clearly, the Heat need more from Kalel and others. I thought Bam and Davion both had representative game ones, but it's going to take a great effort. Listen, just like the effort we saw in game 2 at Boston. Nobody gave the Heat a chance last year in that first round. It was only one of 3 Celtic losses en route to their championship last year. So yes, it's possible. You got to go back to 2021, the first round sweep by the Bucks over the Heat. That's the last time the Heat fell behind 2-0 in a series. So it hasn't happened in a while. Hopefully they can avoid that tonight. But it's going to take, an outstanding effort on both ends of the floor. Talked to Spo a little bit about the defense yesterday, the game 1 defense. He said they were only in zone about 15 possessions. He didn't think it was good enough. So the defense clearly has to be better. You can't allow them to play that free and easy, shooting right. 51% and only 8 turnovers. They showed you why they're the best team in the East, at least during the regular season. The diversification of their offensive portfolio. 18 threes. They were equally effective in the paint. They got whatever they needed to get in game 1, and the Heat cannot let it be, come that fluidly and easily for them.
Eric, before he got hurt against that big Bulls game, Pelle Larsson was playing really well for Miami. You think there's any shot that we see anything of him just because of what he can do to harass guards? He's a rookie, so it's a lot to ask. Hey, you change the things, but is there any chance that we could see maybe a couple minutes out of him if things get off to a slow start?
Tobin, you weren't bugging our production meeting a half hour ago, were you? We were talking about that. Spo was asked about that after the practice yesterday. Listen, everything's on the table. I think, I don't know if it's going to be tonight. I think during this series, Nikola Jović and Pelle Larsson are going to get a chance to try to impact this thing and help the Heat. Hard for Jović. Listen, he hasn't played a regular season game since late February. Played a minute 23 of the last game and looked predictably rusty. but his size and his skill could be helpful. And Pelle Larsson, just the energy and the spark he brings and the defense he plays, I could see Larsson, getting some daylight, maybe even tonight. So that is clearly possible. And for them, listen, if Ty Jerome had 28 points off the bench, they only had one other guy score off their bench, Sam Merrill, who, Merrill had 6 points in the game. DeAndre Hunter didn't score. So, listen, one thing we've learned over these 26 playoff journeys for the Heat is one game has nothing to do with the next. So we'll see what storylines emerge from Game 2. But the Heat have a lot of work to do on both ends of the court. But they're an undaunted underdog. They're eager to take another shot tonight at getting a road win in this series.
Eric, you mentioned Andrew Wiggins a little bit, but I'm curious, what's been your assessment of him? Because, he had missed so many games. There are quarters I watch this guy, and I'm like, he looks like the greatest basketball player in the league. And then, it seems like he floats out, and then it's like you don't hear from him again. So just what do you think of his Heat tenure so far, and what do you think they need more from him? Just aside from this, is there an intensity that they need from him, or any ways that they could just keep him involved throughout the game?
Tobin, it's interesting when you study Wiggins, who's such a solid, consistent guy. But, with Golden State, for so much of his stay there, he was the third option, where his offense wasn't relied on. It was sort of a luxury item for them and clearly helped them. He was an excellent number 3 offensive option behind Steph and Clay for a lot of good Warriors teams. He's more important to the Heat than that. But I've liked him. I think the only knock is that he missed 14 regular season games after joining the Heat, and Miami lost 8 of those games. It's like, if they could have won 4 of them, they might not have been in the play-in. So they need Wiggins to just be himself. Listen, he was great defensively in the 2 play-in games. Had 20 points in both of those games. He's got to have games like that in this series, and clearly the Heat need him on both ends. They need his defense, and I think they need him to get his 19 to 22 points a night in this series.
Is this one of those situations where you have to really fight to be different than the guy you were on the last team? Because again, sometimes, like you said, he plays as if he is that third option, and that I'll just get it when I get it, instead of being that scorer that he can be, and realize that, hey, next to Tyler, you're it. You're the next guy. We need you to be that dude all the time, not just picking and choosing. It seems like he's kind of playing that type of basketball he played when he was with the Warriors, and that he picked his spots. They'd give him his opportunities, set plays for him or whatever. He needs to be more than that right now.
He was in the 2 play-in games, Leroy.
Right.
Listen, don't judge him off the last game. That was not an acceptable game for him. He only got 11 shots in 38 minutes. Clearly, he and Herro need to be more involved and more productive offensively. Or, you can't score 100. Listen, you score under 110, you're not beating Cleveland. As a matter of fact, you're not. The Heat average, a little under 111 a game. That was 24th of 30 teams in the league. What used to be great is now, near the bottom. So to beat Cleveland, you're going to have to score between 115 and 120 points. You do the math. You can't get 8 points in a second half from Tyler and from Wiggins. But here's where you got to give. The Heat need to respond, but you also need to give Cleveland some credit and respect. While they were one of the best offensive teams in the league, first in scoring, second in field goal percentage, second in 3-point percentage, they were also top 3 in field goal percentage defense. It's one of the reasons why they are a championship contending team. If you go pick 3 teams right now that have the best shot to win a championship this year, it's Oklahoma City, and then Cleveland and Boston, however you want to rank them. So let's understand and respect the quality of the opponent the Heat are facing right now. That's the problem with, I think the Heat changed a lot of the narrative about the season, the disappointing season they just had by winning 8 of the last 12 in the regular season, and then the 2 back-to-back road wins in the play-in. It changed the feeling. Now you're in the playoffs, all that doesn't count anymore, and you got to try to win some games in this series. But let's see how it plays out tonight. but got to have great offensive games from Tyler and Wiggins and Bam. Listen, Bam is put together a nice little streak. He's got 11 straight games in playoff competition of over 20 points. You guys started the segment. I came in. You were talking about Bam. As the years roll on, the numbers and his spot in Heat history gets stronger and better. He's now the number 4 scorer, the number 4 rebounder in Heat playoff history. And this surprised me a little bit. His 31 playoff double-doubles tied with LeBron James for the Heat franchise lead in 11 fewer playoff games. So those 3 guys have to lead, and they're going to need help. It's going to take a great cumulative, competitive team effort for Miami, not only to win the night, but to win it at all in this series.
Eric Reid, catch him tonight with John Crotty on FanDuel Sports Sun. 7:30 is your tip. They got your coverage starting at 7. Thanks for the time, Eric. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric.
Guys, thanks. Hey, we'll enjoy tonight, and then Leroy and Tobin, NFL draft tomorrow night.
I know you and Vlad got your attention on that Jets pick for sure. You guys are excited about it.
No, after the 7th, I'm sure if I'm excited about it, but after the 7th pick, I'll switch back to my friendly neighborhood playoff games.
There you go, Eric Reid. Catch him and John Cry tonight. We appreciate it, Eric. Thank you so much.